have your head turned towards the forearm that's pointing upwards. And slowly start to do what you did at the very end of the last lesson, which is to begin to move both arms, the right arm upwards, the left arm downwards, and gradually let that right arm cross over to the left-hand side until the palm can be more or less underneath that left shoulder. And see what that's like to do, having been touched and paid attention to during that partner experience. That's it. Yeah, that was perfect. All you had to do is bend the elbow just at the last moment, because to bring the hand under the shoulder, the elbow has to bend. Yeah, it can bend sooner than that. Yeah, to bring that hand underneath the shoulder, there's a very particular timing for that elbow to bend. Otherwise, you end up rolling a lot to the right. There we go. That's nice. Some of you hardly roll at all. That's good. No, I was looking at you when I said that. Yeah. It's almost like you just have to lift a little bit part of yourself to get the arm around, and then the elbow bends, and there it is. Hands there. Return to lying on your front and just say lying in that position with the arms in the cactus position. And now, would you please very, very gently lift your head a little bit from the floor and put it down. Lift it from the floor and put it down in order to sense what goes on in that part of your spine between your shoulder blades. As you lift your head, something happens there at the back, but also something happens at the front, in the front of the chest. The next time you go to lift your head, could you also lift your right arm? And not a lot, just enough for you to know very clearly in yourself that the head and the arm are a little bit lighter off the floor. That's all. If you want to lift higher and it's easy and it stays the same quality, then please do. Lift the head and the right arm. Now that you're lifting the right arm, can you sense what happens in the spine between the shoulder blades and maybe other parts of your spine as well? And as you develop a more and more elaborated internal map of your spine, your capacity to detect what's going on, that will improve. Now lift your head, your right arm, and your left leg. And of course, you should lift them as high as you can, as long as the quality remains the same. As soon as there's a change in quality, you stop, you lower them down. Now lift your head, your arm, and your right leg. Head, right arm, right leg. Is it possible to do so and leave your breathing absolutely free? Breathing absolutely free. And now finally return to lifting the head, the right arm, and the left leg. And notice what parts of you get pressed into the floor as the head and the arm and the leg lift. For something to lift, something must press. For something to go backwards, something must go forwards. You've got cactus arms. Yeah. Good. That's enough. Please stop. Pause for a little while. Please return to lying on your front. Have your arms in that same cactus position, right forearm pointing upwards, left forearm pointing downwards. And very gently lift your head from the floor and put it down. How can you compose that movement? How can you enact that intention for the lifting to be light, easy? Lower your head. And now slowly, as you lower your head, also, as you lift your head, also lift your left arm. Lift the head and the left arm. Your arm stays in that same configuration. It doesn't shift. The elbow is at shoulder height. The elbow is at shoulder height. The forearm is parallel to the spine. Lift the head. No, don't move the elbow in space. Bring the elbow back to shoulder height. Return the elbow to shoulder height. Higher. That's it. Now lift the arm like that. That's it. How high can you lift the arm without making an effort? No effort. That's it. Less effort. Do less. Less effort. Head and arm. Less effort. That's good. Even less effort. Less. That's good. Even less effort. That's nice. Less effort. Even better. You see? Less effort. That's it. Lift the head, lift the left arm. Lift the head and both arms. Yeah, it's nice. And you can just be asking yourself the same question. Can it be easier? Can it be less effort? Can it be lighter? Now, the next time that you lift both of your arms and your head, very, very slowly turn your head to the other side and rest the other cheek on the floor. That's it. Pause a moment, settle there. So now your head, your face is directed towards the arm that's pointing downwards. And again, lift your arms, lift your head together, and then ever so slowly turn your head to the other side so that it's directed towards the forearm that's pointing upwards. And please repeat that process very gently, very slowly, several times. You're lifting your arm, so you're lifting your arm, the whole thing. However, having said that, you make the choice that makes it lighter for you. You make the choice that makes it lighter for you. Your left arm is out of position. Yeah. That's the position. That's how you lift. Your right forearm is not parallel. There we go. That's good. Yeah. Now lift. Yeah. Lift the head and the arms. And then turn the head to the other side and put it down. I heard a muffled noise. What was that? I hope so. So this is, yeah, actually, if you want to ask that question, when would it make sense to breathe in? During the lift, during the lowering, continuously as you're doing both? Then there's only one way to find out that answer, and that is to try it out. Now, the next time that you have your head lowered and your face is directed to the arm that's pointing downwards, stay there. Stay with your face directed towards the elbow of the arm that's pointing downwards. And in this position, just lift the left arm. Leave the head on the floor, just lift the left arm. Could you lift the left arm in such a way that you still feel that there's some relative movement between the shoulder blade and the rib cage? Where do you shift your weight to do that? Leave your left arm on the floor and just a little bit slide it downwards and bring it back. See if you can find that freedom in the shoulder blade on that left side. You're free to shift your weight in any way that makes it simpler, easier for the arm to slide. Can you find that freedom in the shoulder blade? And then after a few movements, once you've found that freedom, return to having the elbow at shoulder height and see if you can have that same feeling of freedom as you lift the arm from the floor, so that the shoulder blade glides towards the spine. and then comes back. That's it. The shoulder blade glides towards the spine and then comes back. Slowly lift both arms and your head. Turn your head to the other side. And leave it. Pause for a while. Return to lying on your front. Have your arms in the cactus position. And now, having lifted your head and lifted your arms in all those various combinations, please return to that movement of sliding the right arm upwards, the left arm downwards, bringing the right arm underneath yourself across to the left until the fingertips can touch the front of the left shoulder. And pay attention, how much of yourself can you keep in contact with the ground? In other words, is it really necessary to roll yourself a long way to the right? Or can you stay lying on your front mostly? Yeah, and there's the elbow. It starts to reach the face. And then there's a moment when the elbow can bend. Bend that right elbow. Bend it, bend it. And then the hand can scoop around and just touch the front of the left shoulder. That's it. Okay, return to position. Right forearm pointing upwards, left forearm pointing downwards. Now slowly begin to move your fingertips of the left hand towards your abdomen. And then bring it back, and then closer to your abdomen, and then bring it back. And then think of sliding your fingers underneath yourself and bring them back. And begin to explore the intention of sliding that left hand more and more underneath yourself. You're lying on your front. To slide the fingers underneath yourself in the first instance, which way do you roll your pelvis? And if you want to slide the hand far enough so that your fingers are protruding on the right-hand side, how do you need to move and roll your pelvis? Mm. How do you make space? There we go. You make space under one side. Good. That's enough. Please stop, rest. As you're resting there, could you daydream a little bit? Could you daydream about lying on your front in that arm cactus position and then starting to slide the right arm upwards so that it can gradually come underneath you and touch the left shoulder, while at the same time sliding the left arm downwards, introducing it underneath yourself until the fingers can protrude on the right-hand side. So the right arm going up, the left arm going down, the right arm going underneath the head, the left arm going underneath the abdomen or lower ribs. Just daydream about that for a little while. And please go ahead and explore that intention. Set yourself up well. Arms in cactus position, elbows at shoulder height. And then off you go. And because both arms are moving at the same time, that means it's a lot of work with your attention. You're having to switch back and forth, right arm, left arm, pelvis, spine, shoulder blades, here, here, here. You can do that quite calmly because I can tell you that you have plenty of time to explore this. There is no hurry. So you can use several repetitions, many, many repetitions, and shift your attention to some different aspect on each repetition. So that's one very definite way of working. Or you can choose one or two aspects for an repetition, and you can shift your attention between those two aspects. So the most important thing is you have lots of time. That no one is demanding of you that you know everything now. I said, no one is demanding anything of you that you know everything now. Oh, which part didn't you hear? Lie on your front. The right arm goes upwards, around underneath your head. The left arm goes downwards underneath your abdomen. You stay lying on your front. Yeah. So I reckon the image of a centipede was pretty good. Because you can feel how to get the arm underneath you, all these other parts of yourself need to lift, shift weight on the ground. It's a very It's a very intricate movement. All right. Stop, roll onto your back and rest, please. Lie with your legs long on the floor. And now, would you please fold your arms over your chest? Now, I'm using the word fold in a very particular way. You don't cross your arms. You don't do the crossing of the arms routine. Basically, you put one arm across your chest, and then you just put the other arm underneath that arm across your chest. That's it. Folded, but not crossed. Does that make sense? Folded, but not crossed? I don't believe you. Please sit up and have a look. I'll show you what I mean. It's the quickest way, otherwise we'll spend a lot of time making sure. So if I take this arm across my chest like that, I take that arm across my chest like that, can you see that they're folded, but they're not crossed? Yeah. So, yeah, just like that. And could you have your left arm closer to your face? Folded, yeah, so that the left arm is closer to your chin than the right arm. Yeah, that's it. So that's folded but not crossed. Now, with that left hand, could you take it towards the floor to your right? As if you wanted to touch the floor to your right with that left hand. And come back. And now the same thing with the right hand. Take the fingertips of your right hand and reach towards the floor to your left. And come back. Gradually, gradually eliminate every sensation of struggle. Eliminate every sensation of effort, so that the hands can softly reach towards the floor to the right and then towards the floor to the left. Think of reaching towards the floor a little bit beyond your shoulder, not immediately next to it. And what you'll find is that through these reaching movements of the fingers and the forearms, you'll roll a little bit right, and then you roll a little bit left. First the right, first the left hand, bring it back, then the right hand. There we go. The head will roll a little bit, the upper chest will roll a little bit. And initially it feels, for some of you, it'll feel like you'll never roll. But if you just reduce the amount of effort so that parts of yourself don't get tightly held together, then you'll find the independence of movement of different parts of your spine, and that is what's going to let you roll. Yeah, yeah. Think that the fingertips are like seeking something out on the floor to the right. Sorry? Don't use, I haven't said, but preferably not. Now that you mention it, yes, don't use your legs. It's kind of like the lesson that you did last week, rolling like a skeleton, except this is the advanced version. I see no intention to reach out with that hand. What was the instruction? What was the invitation? To reach out with the fingers as if you, there we go, that's already different. So that's what I mean. There's this toing and froing between what was the form and then how can I inhabit that form? Your arms are crossed. Yeah. You're not reaching with the fingers. You're not using the legs. You're not using the legs. Come back. Just that. Just that. Yes, you are. You just don't acknowledge it as rolling. There we go. You see now, you see the lower half of you is much stiller, yes? And now you've got a neck. Now you've got a head. You glad about that? Yeah, now you've got a rib cage. You glad about that too? That's good. Look, no, you don't even have to move your legs. Look, you don't have to do anything down there. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Off you go. That's what it's about. What do you mean by upwards? You're initiating from the arms. Yeah, so it's the arms that start off the movement. Go gently. The more you enable your chest to soften, the more the muscles of your chest don't hold on tightly to the rib cage, the more supple you'll become in the rib cage. And of course, then the arms can reach even further across. And the weight of the arms reaching further across will roll you even more. So can you see that there's this beautiful balance between softening and clarity of intent? Nice. And then the floor starts to feel soft. And it's not what you'd call it's not what you call a willful intent. It's a very softly held intent, and you just keep on going a little bit, finding a little bit more movement in the chest, a little bit more movement in the neck. Then you feel your spine actually turning a little bit, the fingers actually becoming more alive, because that is what you're exploring with. Where are you taking your fingers? It's to the left and you come back. It's to the right and then you come back. And eventually, for some of you, you'll be able to roll yourself completely onto one side and completely onto the other side, not by pushing with your legs, but by just simply leading with one arm and then the other. So it's not about pushing with the legs. Stop a moment, rest. Notice your contact with the floor. And reintroduce that notion of a balance beam. A very shallow one. I mean, it's probably 1 millimeter high. Tiny. And now, how much of yourself can you sense to the right of the balance beam? And how much of yourself can you sense to the left of the balance beam? And is that different from when you first sensed yourself this morning? And then how much of you do you sense on the balance beam? Please roll to one side, come up to standing. Notice what it's like to stand. What do the arms feel like? How are you holding? How are you supporting your arms? Good. Walk a little bit, but with a little bit of brisk. Brisk. Notice the movement of the chest relative to the movement of the arms. Okay. We'll have lunch. It'll be a 1 1/4 hour lunch. We'll come back at 2:10. And I think there's FIs at lunchtime. So see you after lunch.